Five best friends drove into a frozen abyss for absolutely no reason. They were happy, celebrating a victory. But hours later, they abandoned a working car and walked into the snow to die. This isn't just a disappearance. It is a descent into unexplained madness. February 24th, 1978. The boys watched their team win at Chico State. The drive home was an easy straight shot. But for reasons that died with them, the driver turned the wheel, deviating from safety and heading straight up into the hostile wilderness. When police found their car, it made no sense. It wasn't broken or out of gas. The undercarriage was pristine. They hadn't hit a single bump on the rough road. It was as if the car had been placed there gently by a ghost. A witness stuck nearby saw them. Joseph Shawns, suffering a heart attack, watched their headlights approach. He screamed for help, but the men went silent and turned off their lights. Why would five gentlemen ignore a dying plea? What were they so afraid of? Instead of staying in the warm car, they walked. They marched deeper into the forest, wearing only light jackets and basketball sneakers. They walked away from safety, directly into a blizzard. It was a death march, executed with terrifying precision. Months later, the snow melted. Searchers found a trailer 19 miles away. Inside lay the body of Ted Wire. He survived for weeks wrapped in sheets, feet frostbitten. But the true horror wasn't his death. It was how he lived those final days. The trailer was a sanctuary. It had a full propane tank for heat, never touched, a fireplace with matches, unused, a locker full of food, barely eaten. Ted starved to death in a room filled with supplies. Why didn't he save himself? The forest slowly revealed the others. Jack Madruga and William Sterling were reduced to scattered bones miles away. Jack Hewitt was found on the mountain's backbone. The group had shattered in the cold. But one question remained. Where was Gary Mathias? Gary Mathias, the only one with military experience, simply vanished. His tennis shoes were inside the trailer, suggesting he made it there. But his body was never found. Did he walk out alive, or was he the reason they went up there in the first place? To understand this, look at their minds. Fear in the pitch black is contagious. Did they suffer folie à deux? A shared psychosis. It's possible one man's hallucination became the group's reality, leading them all away from safety and into the dark. Theories run wild. Local bullies, a chase, a wrong turn. But none explain the trailer. Why starve when you have food? The behavior suggests they were hiding. They were terrified of being found by something outside, even if it meant dying inside. Robbery was ruled out. A gold watch was left behind. But the trailer's curtains were sealed tight. They lived in the dark, listening to the wind, waiting for a monster that may have only existed in their minds. Or perhaps something was stalking them. This is the American Dyatlov Pass. Like the Russian hikers, they fled safety without shoes. Both groups died of exposure despite having resources. It is a haunting reminder that when primal fear grips the mind, logic vanishes and the will to survive breaks. For the families, the pain is the mystery. Mothers died never knowing why their sons didn't just drive home. They were so close to survival, inside a shelter with food and fire. Yet the mountain claimed them, one by one. 50 years later, The silence remains. The trees have grown over the tracks. It is a story of a wrong turn that became a trip into oblivion. Sometimes the most terrifying monster isn't in the woods. It is the unraveling of the human mind. What do you think drove them up that mountain? Fear, confusion, or something sinister? Let me know in the comments. Stay safe and never drive into the dark alone.